Hey Violet, how's it going? You got a minute? Mind if I talk to you about something?
Nora? Sure, I'm free. What's up?
I've been doing some thinking, and it's your mom and dad's 50th wedding anniversary this year, right? I wanted to speak to you about it. You see, we've got a little idea we wanted to pitch to you.
Oh, is it? I must have forgotten.
Yeah. Anyway, your mom and dad have always been good to me. They're the best in-laws a girl could hope to have, and I feel lucky to have them in my life. So me and Jason have been talking, and we decided we want to splash out to send them on a holiday somewhere nice as a huge once-in-a-lifetime anniversary present. What do you think?
Sounds fine to me. Do what you like. I really couldn't care less. Why are you bothering me about it?
Well, we were wondering if you'd help us make sure that they have a great time. We want it to be a holiday to remember.
You mean you want my money?
Well, I wouldn't put it so bluntly, but we were hoping you might contribute a little something to the holiday fund.
No chance. You're free to do what you like, but don't try dragging me into things by begging me for money.
I'm not begging you, and we're not trying to drag you into anything. We just thought it'd be a nice idea if we could celebrate this together as a family. You're their daughter, after all. Besides, I heard they paid for the deposit on yours and my brother's house. What better way to thank them for being such amazing parents than to send them on a trip of a lifetime for their golden wedding anniversary?
The deposit? Phew, it was only a measly $20,000. They hardly broke the bank.
Fine, okay. Would you at least mind riding in a cart for them? If you could, it would be amazing if you could ride them one from little Mikey too. They'd be over the moon to get an anniversary card from their favorite grandson. You know how much they dote on that boy.
If that's all you're asking, then I guess I don't mind writing in a card. Mikey can write one himself, though. He's 11, you know.
Thanks so much, Violet.
But let me make one thing clear. You're not getting a cent of my money unless you pry it from my cold, dead hands. Why would you waste money on something like that? You must be mad.
Something like that? This is your mom's and dad's golden wedding anniversary we're talking about here. They've been together for 50 years. They've always been so good to you, and we'll never get the chance to do this again.
I couldn't care less. What's so special about him being married for a long time? What, do they want a medal?
Geez, Violet, they're your parents. Besides, you're always buying luxuries like branded clothes, accessories, and perfumes, right? Would it really hurt so much to part with a little of that money to jet your amazing parents away for the anniversary trip of a lifetime? We're not asking for much. It'd be nothing in comparison to the designer goods you buy.
Who the hell do you think you are? You've got some nerve to speak to me like that. If you were trying to piss me off, you've succeeded.
Remember when your dad got hospitalized after his car accident? Not only did you not contribute when we all chipped in to pay his medical bills, but you didn't even visit him. In the end, besides your mom, me, and Jason were the only ones who were there for him, physically, emotionally, and financially, while you barely lifted a finger.
What's the problem with that? Jason's the eldest son. It's the eldest son's job to step in when his parents are in trouble. What did you expect me to do? Give me a break.
But you literally did nothing. That's not normal. You couldn't even bring yourself to visit your seriously injured dad in the hospital? No matter which way you spin it. What you did was messed up. Not only that, but you and your husband have way more money than me and Jason. The fact that you were in the best position of all of us to help out and did nothing says it all.
Sure, we have a lot of money. My husband's a top executive at a major global company. What of it? What are you saying? That us being rich and successful means that you have a right to our money? That's laughable, pathetic, poor people logic. We are not a charity.
Wow, I see. Fine. You know what? Forget it. To be honest, we were pretty certain you wouldn't help us before we even asked. I only messaged you just in case you changed your ways since we last spoke, but I see now that would take a miracle.
It's plainly obvious that you're only begging me for money because you have none of your own. This is all just a ploy to pull at my heartstrings, isn't it? How about you stop pretending you're not poverty-stricken losers and just admit your status as miserable bottom feeders? Anniversary holiday fund? Don't make me laugh. You're the last people who have the financial freedom to be paying to send other people on holiday.
That's not true. Me and Jason can afford it if we pool our savings.
Maybe so, but something like this must be very expensive for a low-income family like yours. Tell me, Nora, what's it like being a peasant? I imagine it must be terribly difficult to get by. I heard you use discount coupons at the supermarket. Can you imagine anything more tragic?
What's wrong with using discount coupons?
What's wrong? What's right? Think about it. You spend your time saving up scraps of paper to get measly $1 discounts on what was already cheap peasant food to begin with. Maybe if you'd spent your time studying and working hard to succeed in life instead, this unfortunate situation could have been avoided. What a pitiful existence. I could never live like that.
I believe it. I heard all about your extravagant spending habits. You spend 3 hours at the salon every day, you dine at fancy restaurants like you're a member of the global elite, and you wouldn't be seen dead without your Pepsio Armani clothing and perfumes. How does your husband feel about you wasting his money like that? Does he never say anything?
Why would he care about any of that? It's pocket change to him. When you're as rich and successful as we are, your sense of money changes. Let's say we have a little more leeway than the likes of you and my brother. My husband could care less about the occasional luxury here and there.
I could be wrong here, but something tells me that just because he's away in Seattle on a company transfer doesn't mean he's okay with you blowing his hard-earned money on frivolities.
If you're trying to start a fight with me, you're going the right way about it. I suggest you be very careful about what you say next. You always seem to have some kind of whining, niggling complaint every time I come over to see my brother too, don't you? Tell me, Nora, why exactly is it that you don't know how to shut your goddamn mouth? What I spend my money on has absolutely nothing to do with you. Now back off.
Jason's sick and tired of your shenanigans too, you know? You're the most selfish, egotistical person either of us ever met. You genuinely think you can do whatever you like as long as it makes you happy, don't you? 'Cause screw the other people and their feelings, right, Violet? Right?
I think I finally get it. This is your inferiority complex speaking. The desperate attacks of a jealous brokey.
Excuse me?
You're jealous of me and my luxurious lifestyle, aren't you? Admit it. I can read you like a book. That's why you come at me out of nowhere, frothing at the mouth like some rabid attack dog. Poor people make me sick. Have you no shame? Do you have no notion of how despicable it is to pester people for money like this? Or do you just not care?
I've had enough of this. Your views on the world are too twisted for me to have any kind of meaningful conversation with you. Sorry to message you so late like this, but I just happened to bump into Mikey. He's still in elementary school, right?
Yes? Why? What do you want?
I just saw him outside alone walking the dog. It's really late. Should he be out on his own this time? Don't you think it's dangerous?
He's used to walking the dog. There's nothing to worry about. And sure, he may be in elementary school, but he's in the 6th grade, and it won't be long before he moves up to junior high.
But it's past 10 p.m. I get that it's not a bad neighborhood, but you still sometimes see the occasional creep. Do you think it's a good idea for him to be out alone at night? It'd be dangerous even for a junior high or high school kid at this time.
Creeps? Don't be ridiculous. You can be such a drama queen. Besides, even if something did happen, the dog would protect him.
Seriously? Your 12-year-old chihuahua is going to leap into action and defend your son from some marauding weirdo?
I'm telling you, it's fine. You worry too much. Kids these days are so independent, they stay out much later than they did when I was a little girl. I can assure you, you don't need to concern yourself with my son's dog walking routine. Is this why you're so poor? Because you spend your time poking your nose into other people's affairs instead of making money?
Forget my financial situation. Look, couldn't you have him go out earlier, like in the daytime?
Why do I have to control every aspect of my boy's life? It's his own fault for not going out earlier. I'm not his prison guard.
If he must go out at this time, at the very least, couldn't you have gone with him?
I'm busy. Anyway, it has nothing to do with me. My son's in charge of all things dog-related. He's the one who said he wanted a dog, so it's only right that he takes care of it. The pooch is Mikey's responsibility.
Please, Violet, will you at least consider the possibility that it might not be safe for an 11-year-old to be out on his own at this time of night? If you're not willing to stop him doing it, will you at least let me go with him? It's not just girls that get targeted by creeps, you know? You hear about this kind of stuff in the news all the time.
Do what you like.
Phew, okay, thanks. I will. I'll let Mikey know he's gonna have some company.
Good grief, you're so soft on that boy. I wonder if it's because you have no kids of your own. I suppose it only makes sense that you'd know nothing about raising children. But I do at least wish you wouldn't pester me with trivialities like this.
Your son's safety is triviality? Lord, give me strength. Anyway, even if I don't have kids, I know full well how dangerous it can be for a child to be out walking on their own late at night.
It's not my job to interfere in every aspect of my son's life. How on earth do you expect him to grow into a disciplined, independent young man if he can't even be trusted to walk the dog on his own?
I guess you always did have a tendency to look the other way when it came to Mikey, huh?
Good grief, woman. Quit your complaining already. By the way, where did you end up deciding on for my parents' wedding anniversary holiday?
We spoke to them about it, and they said they really wanted to go to a hot spring resort. We did some research on the best spots in America, and we're thinking of sending them to a famous resort in California.
Oh, that close? You could have at least sent them further away. Are you aware we live in Washington, my dear? They'll barely feel like they've moved. I suppose I should have seen this coming. What with you being extremely poor and all. I mean, California, seriously? Everyone knows that when it comes to hot springs, there's only one place to be. Oh wait, could it be you couldn't afford to send them there?
Go on, enlighten me. Where would you send them?
The land of the rising sun, Japan, duh! If you couldn't afford that, you could have at least sent them some other place abroad. You know, like Hawaii or Guam. To think you'd send them 2 states away. My poor parents must be so disappointed.
But they said they wanted to go to a hot spring resort.
They probably just knew if they said that, you'd send them on a cheap trip to California and not take too much of a hit financially. They were only doing it out of consideration for you. They're aware of how poor you are and didn't want to put you in an awkward situation. It's amazing, really. You make this big show and parade about treating them like royalty for their golden wedding anniversary and then send them to California. If you're gonna celebrate, at least do it properly.
Okay, Mrs. Travel Expert, tell me, what does celebrating properly look like?
I just told you, going abroad. Take me, for example. I have 3 trips abroad planned for this year alone. I'm going to Dubai for the summer.
That's great, Violet. Good for you. Somewhere exotic like Dubai might be a really attractive holiday destination to a seasoned veteran like you. But I'm not sure your aged parents, who have almost no experience traveling abroad, would see it in the same way. Lots of stuff can go wrong, and when you don't know what you're doing, traveling can be surprisingly stressful. Besides, and I'm repeating myself here, but they're the ones who said they wanted to go to a hot spring resort in the first place. I think a nice easy trip to California is by far the best option for them.
That's such a peasant-like way of looking at things. But what did I expect? You are a literal peasant after all. I can't say I don't feel bad for my poor parents, but what do I care? It's not like I'm the one paying for it. Do what you like.
I will. We'll decide where your parents go on holiday amongst ourselves. What the hell's going on here?
I could ask you the same thing. What the hell do you want?
When I went to the supermarket just now, I passed through your neighborhood.
The supermarket? Oh no, you don't mean that budget supermarket for poor people a few blocks away, do you? You went again today? Are you gonna spend your whole summer vacation trading in poverty coupons for discount peasant slop at that shabby supermarket? I hesitate to call it a supermarket. Poop market would be more appropriate.
Hilarious, Violet. Well done. There's absolutely nothing wrong with buying food with discount coupons at a bargain supermarket during summer vacation, and that's the hill I'm willing to die on.
Forgive me. I should have known you can't afford to go on holiday. I see you're just as broke as ever. I know it might seem like I'm harsh with you sometimes, but to tell you the truth, I actually feel sorry for you.
You feel sorry for me? At least I'm not such a scumbag I'd leave my poor son on his own while I jet off on holiday.
Huh?
Mikey was sat all on his own on your front porch. He was sat shivering in his tattered, worn-out clothes while cuddling the dog for heat. He said he was waiting for you to come home. Apparently you told him you were going to work?
You saw Mikey? What on earth were you doing at our house?
I won a toy car from a lottery event I got entered into with one of my coupons. I thought Mikey would love it, so I stopped by to give it to him. I didn't want to disturb you, so the plan was just to leave it on the front porch for him to find. That's when I found him sat there all on his own. I could barely believe my eyes.
Oh, I see. Well, give him the toy and get lost. You don't need to worry about my son.
I thought you were supposed to be going away for summer vacation as a family. Why did you leave Mikey on his own? Not only that, but you lied to him and said you were going to work, so he thought you'd be back soon. What the hell do you think you're playing at? This is unacceptable.
Who told you we were going on holiday as a family? Seems to me like you just assumed it based on nothing. If you must know, I'm on holiday with my friend. The only reason I told Mikey a little white lie is so he'd watch the house without kicking up a fuss about not being able to see me for a while.
What? You intentionally deceived your son and you see no problem with that?
Sure, as soon as I mentioned work, he just gave in and accepted. If I'd have told him I was going on holiday to Dubai with my girlfriend, he'd only have gotten jealous and thrown a tantrum because he wanted to come.
I can't believe you. How long has it been since you left for Dubai? Have you no shame? How could you leave your 11-year-old son on his own like this?
Take a chill pill, sweetie. He's more than capable of watching the house on his own at his age.
Maybe, just maybe I could understand if you left him for a single day if you had urgent business to attend to. But to leave him on his own while you fly aboard to go on a freaking holiday? Who does that? Does he at least have enough food or money to buy some? He was absolutely starving when I found him.
I'm sick of your incessant whining. Would you put a lid on it already? Of course he has everything he needs. What do you take me for?
Oh, I don't know. The kind of person who leaves their son on his own to fly halfway across the world to sunbathe with her girlfriend? Besides, I know you're lying. He asked me to look at the inside of the house. It was hard to see anything beyond the mountains of maggot-infested garbage, and I definitely didn't see anything resembling money or edible food.
Who do you think you are? How dare you enter my house without my permission?
I'm taking Mikey back to our house. The dog, too. I'm gonna run him a nice warm bath and cook him some supper. He doesn't look like he's eaten anything in days.
Quit sticking your nose into my family's business. You'll do no such thing.
I'm not listening to a word you say. I feel so sorry for Mikey. I can barely bring myself to look at him in this state. His clothes are worn out. His face has no color. I've seen healthier looking homeless people. Don't worry about us. Just carry on enjoying your precious holiday. I wouldn't want you getting an uneven tan on my behalf. Goodbye.
You better have taken my son back to his home where he belongs. Did you?
Yes, I took him back home. He's with your husband.
What? My husband came back from his work transfer?
Little Mikey was in such a horrible state, I had no choice but to call him. When I explained the situation, he apologized and said he'd be on the next flight home. I didn't have his number, so I had to call your mom first.
No! What have you done? How many times did I tell you not to stick your nose in my goddamn business? You will pay for this!
I must say, it looks like someone's been a very naughty girl. Your husband had no idea about your trip to Dubai, did he?
But I did tell him I'd be away from the house for a little while.
Maybe so, but you lied again, just like you always do. He said you told him you were going on a business trip. What's worse, you told him you were hiring a babysitter so he didn't need to worry about Mikey being on his own. That's what you told him, isn't it, Violet? Lies, lies, and more lies. I gotta say, I've never seen your family this angry before.
No. I didn't mean to hire a babysitter. That wasn't a lie. But she canceled on me at the last minute. Ah, that dumb girl. None of this would be happening if she'd just done her job like we agreed. I had no time to find another one, and my flight was due to leave, so I had to leave Mikey to watch the house on his own. You didn't have to take him like that. He's used to watching the house. He would have been fine without your meddling.
He was starving, Violet. He said all he had left to eat was some candy that he was rationing because he had no idea when you'd be back. Him shivering on the porch cuddled up to the dog like that was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. How could you do that to your own son?
I told you I left him some food. He probably just ate it all on the first day. That's hardly my fault.
Really? I wonder if it might have had something to do with you lying that you were going to work. He probably expected you to come back that night. Besides, there's no way you left him enough to cover your entire holiday. Now, to change the subject a little, your husband says he noticed you've been blowing his money by indulging in every possible luxury under the sun. You've been lying to him this whole time.
What are you talking about?
Your wasteful spending habits, obviously. You covered up your husband's rapidly shrinking bank balance with a pack of shameful lies. Repair costs for the roof, money for Mikey's medical bills. Lie after lie after lie, with not so much as a hint about how you were actually spending it on designer goods and fancy restaurants. What was it you said back then? My husband could care less about the occasional luxury here and there? Well, it turns out he could. And what's more, you obviously knew he would. Because you felt the need to hide it from him.
Forget that. The real question here is, what the heck does any of this have to do with you? This is our problem, for us to discuss. It has nothing to do with you. Just who the hell do you think you are? Quit sticking your nose where it's not welcome.
That's not everything you lied about either. I know all about the dog too. Apparently you were the one who wanted a chihuahua. But you got bored of looking after it a few months after you bought it, so you stopped caring for it altogether. Leaving Mikey, who thankfully, unlike you, is a decent human being with a heart, to care for it all on his own. How does it feel knowing your 11-year-old son has more sense of responsibility than you?
I get it. My brother Jason's probably mad at me, isn't he? I bet this is all coming from him. Admit it, you're just his mouthpiece. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over and see him as soon as I get back from Dubai, and I'll hear out everything he has to say. Can you please tell him to put a lid on this endless whining for the time being?
Jason's far from being the only one who's mad with you. I'm acting your husband's mouthpiece here too.
My husband?
Mad doesn't do it justice. This goes beyond mere anger. He's absolutely livid. I've never seen him like this. And who can blame him? You've behaved despicably, forced to jump on the next flight home on a moment's notice from his work transfer out of state after finding out his pathological liar of a wife abandoned his son to jet off to Dubai, probably causing all sorts of problems for his company. And if that wasn't bad enough, he then realizes she's been spending his money like it grows on trees behind his back for God knows how long.
Is he really that angry?
He's so infuriated he looks ready to explode at any moment. He's even saying divorce is on the table.
What? Divorce? Isn't that a bit drastic? Why would he go straight to divorce? Surely we can talk this through.
I don't know. Jeez, whatever could it be? Maybe it has been something to do with him messaging you every day to ask how Mikey was doing, and you telling him barefaced lies by pretending you were actually with him, and that he was absolutely fine? I don't know, Violet. Do you think it could be that? Maybe? Just maybe? You obviously knew what you were doing was wrong. Otherwise, you wouldn't have lied about it.
Wrong! Mikey really was fine!
If you think the disheveled, malnourished mess I found shivering in the cold on your front porch was anything resembling fine, I suggest you go and get your eyes checked out right now. Actually, scratch that. You need to see a shrink. 'Cause you've got a screw loose. Your husband's talking about divorcing you and taking you to the court over custody of Mikey, and if we're honest, after what you did, he'll almost definitely win. I think you should start preparing yourself for your inevitable ejection from the premises when you get home.
What? He's gonna kick me out of the house now? Isn't this all too much too soon? What happened to reasonable discussion?
It went out the window the moment you decided to abandon your 11-year-old son to go on holiday. Let's hope he lets you gather your belongings when you get back. Maybe if he's feeling extra kind, he'll let you camp out in the yard.
Look, fine. I admit it. It could be argued that I told my husband a few too many lies. But even still, don't you think going straight from 0 to divorce is a bit drastic? Is he okay with me being homeless? Are you? Could you really sleep at night with me out on the streets?
Yes, we're all in agreement. It wouldn't bother us in the slightest. And sure, we'd sleep like babies, thanks. No one here wants to help you. You don't have a single sympathizer in this family. We'd sooner throw our money into a black hole than waste it on a selfish, arrogant narcissist like you. After that, Violet booked the next flight home from Dubai in a frenzied panic and showed up at the house the next day. Apparently, she showed up with a suitcase full of flashy souvenirs in an attempt to win her husband over. But the fact she bought them with his money just made him even angrier, and he refused to let her set foot inside the house. Collapsing into a crumpled mess on the front lawn, she stayed outside the house for several hours crying, screaming, and begging her husband to forgive her. Naturally, he completely ignored all of it, having no intention of forgiving her for as long as she lives. He continued with the divorce proceedings as planned. The two of them went through divorce court, and while I don't know about the finer details of the ruling, I don't know that her husband won full custody of Mikey, and the two of them immediately moved as far away from her as they possibly could. Both Mikey's mood and physical condition improved remarkably with a few days of moving in with his dad, and now he's been bright, energetic, healthy young man, and he always should have been. Mikey wasn't the only one who moved in with his dad. His beloved dog came with him too. He walks him every day without fail. My sister-in-law Violet, on the other hand, who had already been kicked out of her parents' house without a single dollar to her name as a result of her reprehensible behavior, had the gall to show up at mine and her brother's Jason house, begging for money. She got on her knees before us and pleaded, "I need money, please. It doesn't have to be much, please. I'm begging you." My husband, who must have been in an extra kind mood that day, tossed $1 on the ground before her, before saying, "Never come anywhere near me or my family again." Oh, the irony? To think her entire life now rested on $1 after she used to make fun of me for using coupons to get discounts for the same amount at the supermarket. I'm not sure if it was because she suddenly realized how pathetic she was in a rare moment of self-awareness, but in any case, she slowly got up and trudged away, broken and dispirited, her energy and vigor gone. As we watched from behind as she walked out of our lives forever, it was obvious how gaunt and malnourished she'd become. Her confident, self-assured attitude was now nothing but a distant memory. I don't know what happened to her after that, but one thing's for sure, she needed help. There's a satisfying irony in someone who stopped at nothing to avoid helping others suddenly being in dire need of outside support. I hope she realizes what an arrogant, selfish fool she's been, but I'm not holding my breath.